I recently unboxed this on my channel, and I got a few comments from people who were expressing confusion because I've talked before about some of the Louis Vuitton animations, specifically Vivienne, and how I find them cartoonish and childish, and people were confused about how I could think that but still like this. So I am here to clear things up and to confuse you even more. Hi YouTube, Autumn Beckman here. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My channel is all about luxury living on a budget, from high-end luxury handbags and small goods like these animation pieces I'm going to show you today, to the everyday luxuries of life. If that sounds interesting to you, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell notification icon to be notified when I post new videos, and be sure to like the videos that you enjoy. One of the perks of subscribing to my channel is that you get to see my community posts on your YouTube homepage, and that's where I put deals, coupon codes, discounts, rare finds related to all these things we love. So let me give you a little bit of an overview, a little outline about what I'm talking about today. First, I'm going to show you the animation pieces that I have, and then we'll be talking about the Louis Vuitton animations and animation pieces from a few other brands. This is in no way meant to be an exhaustive catalog of all of the Louis Vuitton animations because, gosh, there's so many, I don't know that I could even do that. But I will show you what I have. We'll talk about some of the pieces I still want, and we'll talk about a few other Louis Vuitton animations and why I like them or why I don't, and then a few more things related to the Louis Vuitton animations. A little bit of a deeper dive into it. All right, let me show you what I have. And when I say animation, in this case, I pulled everything out of my collection that has something printed on the canvas. So I just showed you this. This is my most recent acquisition, the mini pochette in the Trunks and Locks print. I also recently showed you this piece, the small cosmetic in the jungle dots. While we're on pouches, here's the pochette accessoire in the Stephen Sprouse graffiti print, the round coin in the Murakami cerises or cherries print. And those are all my Louis Vuitton pouches. Most of my animation pieces, I guess not most, because I have 4 pouches and then I have 4 of these. I was going to say most, but I was wrong. Half, apparently, of my Louis Vuitton animation pieces are on bag charms. Here's one of the Kusama pieces. I always forget the name of this. Pumpkin dots, infinity dots, I don't remember. The turquoise V collection. The penguins from a Christmas animation a few years ago. I want to say 2017. And this one I wouldn't really classify as an animation, but it has a design on it, so I pulled it anyway. And that's the Epi Nightbird bag charm. And then this piece, which a lot of people hate. I think it's one of those things you either hate or you love. The Chapman Brothers luggage tag with the rhinoceros. And I do have a few other pieces to show you, but I'm going to save those for later in the video. There are 2 more Louis Vuitton animation pieces that are on my immediate wish list. One of the next pieces I would like to get is the Groom Clay. I would also like to have the hot air balloon bag charm, but honestly I'm not certain that that's one I'll get, partly because of the color being red. I know there's a pink one, and pink's not my color, but I don't wear red very often, so I don't know if I'd really wear that, but I do like it. One animation that I love but won't buy because the colors don't work with my wardrobe is the Stephen Sprouse Roses collection. That's been one of the most popular Louis Vuitton collections. Everybody loves that. Some collections I'm on the fence about. The Catagram collection. This is another that people either love or hate. If this had been dogs, I would have loved it. I know that there are a couple of dogs sprinkled in, but if it was all dogs, I'd probably have a piece. The Summer Trunk line. This one I'm on the fence about because I kind of like it, but then I feel like it's too cartoony for me. And then the Time Trunk line, not cartoony. However, there's something about it that I don't really like. It's like I like the idea behind it. I like it from a distance, but up close when I've seen them, I think it's the trompe-l'oeil effect that I'm not a fan of, where it tries to look 3D when it's really not. And then Virgil Abloh's recent collection with the cartoon animals and even the stuffed animals. There is something about that that I like, and I actually prefer the stuffed animals on the bags. It's very strange, rather than the animations. There's something about the absurdity, the complete absurdity of this line that really appeals to me. I like absurdity in art, and I like when art crosses over into fashion, which we will talk about. Some animations from Vuitton that I don't like. Obviously Vivian, I'm just not a fan of her. Some of the animations that have Vivian in them, I would like if she wasn't there, especially the Vivian in Venice piece. I actually almost bought the pencil holder. I even put it on reserve at Fashion File, but then I thought better of it, and I thought, yeah, I really don't want to spend $600 on a pencil holder with cartoon Vivian on it. Plus, I talked to my friend Jill Maurer, who told me that she has one, different print, but also Vivian, and that the interior is not wipeable, and I have click pens and other things that I'd want to keep in there that would ruin the interior, so it didn't seem like the smartest piece for me to get. And though I have the penguin piece from what I think is the 2017 Christmas collection, there were other animal pieces from that collection that I don't like the giraffes and the big cats. On these, I just felt like I tend to go for animal pieces because I love animals, but the lines on these drawings were too thick, and something about that put me off. There were also polar bears in that line. I liked that one better, but because of the polar bears and the red and white color scheme, it reminded everyone of the Coca-Cola polar bears that used to be in their commercials. And that didn't turn me off to it. I just don't have any connection to polar bears like I do have with penguins. Pretty much anything by Murakami I don't like. I know that those pieces are super popular in the Louis Vuitton world. I do love the cherries. Obviously, I have one of those pieces, but that's pretty much it. Don't like the mocha or hands print. I don't like the multicolor pieces, never have. Although I did recently come across this Chrissy bag, and there's something about this that I do really like. I don't like the panda, I don't like the cherry blossoms, but I do like the cherries. So in going through all these preferences and getting these questions from people about, well, why do I like this but not this? And that doesn't make sense, right? Well, first of all, my most immediate reaction to that is, I'm human just like you. Like, I know y'all think I'm some kind of perfect celebrity or something, right? I'm joking. But no, I'm human. I like different things, even within the same category, like animation. Some things I like, some things I don't. People are complicated that way. But deeper than that, for me, it all has to do with the fact that I'm an artist. I teach photography, as a lot of you know, but I also have a background in drawing and painting, and even in animation. In several of my December vlogmases, I show you guys how I draw my Christmas cards. This is one from a few years ago. This is us in Italy, and it has a whole bunch of pieces from our Italy trip. And these are my dog drawings. I have a huge series of these, books and books full of these drawings. I'm trying to find a good one to show you that you'll appreciate. Here's one. This is when I adopted Roxy, so this is me. I should explain, these are like a visual diary for me, these books and these drawings, and all of the characters are dogs, and everything that I draw is from real life. Humans are always the big dogs, and then actual dogs look more like real dogs than my cartoon dog that I've developed over the years. So this is me, we're all sitting on the couch. This is Baron, and then this is Roxy when I adopted her. That's her adoption certificate. She's wearing a little diaper because she wasn't spayed yet and she went into heat, so she had to wear the diaper. But anyway, that's an example, a less detailed example than the Christmas card, which is more similar to my usual dog drawings. And as I was thinking about these animation pieces and why I like some and not others, I was also reminded about how I'm often drawn to illustrations in art or magazines, and that I have the same struggle with those that I have with these pieces, which is, where does it get to a point where it's too cartoony or too childish? So for me, some of it comes down to the visuals and some of it comes to the content, and then some of it also comes to the connection with the piece, or maybe the history of the piece. So as far as the visuals, all three of these pieces illustrate my point here. What I like in an illustration, or an animation in this case, is something with thin lines. I generally like things that I don't consider too cartoony. Now the cherries are pretty cartoony, but they're also pretty realistic. Like if you took the silly faces off of them, it would be a nice illustration of cherries. The penguins, in my opinion, are not very cartoony. They are pretty realistic. And then the trunk too. I like the fine lines around it. That doesn't mean I also don't like thick lines sometimes. I'll tell you an example of that later. Something like this also illustrates the point, but it's more painterly. And even this isn't an animation, but it's basically an illustration. This luggage tag with the Statue of Liberty on it. And then the content of the pieces, which also connects to the context or the history of the pieces and my connection with them. So for example, the penguins. I have a connection to penguins because I helped raise some penguins down in Galveston a long time ago. I have a connection to rhinoceroses because I used to volunteer at the Houston Zoo. I worked in the bird department, but they had a fundraiser every year for the rhinos, and I designed some of the artwork for that for 1 or 2 years in a row. The Nightbird piece, again, because of working with birds. Pieces like these, I don't feel like I have to have so much of a connection to because it's more of a pattern and less of an illustration, at least the way I see it. So I just have to like the pattern, the color scheme. This I like because it looks more like an illustration to me than a cartoon, and because of the connection to the history of Louis Vuitton, it being trunks and all. Of course, that's how the company was started, with trunks. The Statue of Liberty piece I'm connected to because I used to live in New York. And I also have animations on a few pieces from other companies. So like the bag behind me and this matching pouch with the yellow rocket on them. I do like a little touch of yellow in my wardrobe, so that worked really well, like a mustard yellow. But I also live in Houston, which is Space City, so I have that connection to rockets, and I have another connection to rockets that's more personal that I won't go into. It's not like secret or anything. I just don't know how interested you'd actually be in the story. So I have quite a few pieces with rockets on them, including a bag charm from Coach that I did not pull. These are from Coach, by the way. I also have illustrations on several, if not all, of my scarves and bandeaus. So here's another Coach piece with penguins. Has other animals on it too, but I bought it because of the penguins. Thought this Louis Vuitton bandeau really exemplifies the illustrative qualities that I love. I don't think that's cartoony at all. It's a bunch of fine lines, really beautiful, lots of detail. I love that and a good illustration. Same could be said for something like this. This scarf from Gucci has all kinds of fine lines and detail. It is also full of animals, so I'm very connected to that, very drawn to that. I have this little scarf from Hermes. It's called Concerto, and this to me is an illustration, but it's also very painterly. It looks like watercolor. So I love that and appreciate the artistry behind it. Even something like this Dior notebook that I got myself at Christmas time. Again, illustrations, fine lines and details, and animals. This little piece from Sprayground, tiny backpack with the Damier Ben print on it, and then the shark's mouth over it, and the green camouflage. This falls more into the absurdity category for me, not just because it's a tiny backpack, bag charm, but also the animation on it, which is definitely more cartoony. There's just something really absurd and strange about it that I'm drawn to. So besides the illustrations with the fine lines and details, besides the animals, there's another thread running through the animation pieces that I enjoy that goes very deep, and that is collaborations with artists, like the Kusama piece and the Murakami piece. And I'm not sure the artist's name on this, but this is a Coach piece that was gifted to me by Winnie B. LV, and that's definitely more cartoony than an illustration, but it's by an artist, and I can appreciate that. Or like this bag charm from Coach, which very much reminds me of Andy Warhol's soup cans. Or this bag charm from Coach, which is Basquiat's dinosaur. So as an artist, I feel very connected to the collaborations with other artists. And that's something I really appreciate about Louis Vuitton and Coach and a lot of other brands who do collaborate with artists. That's not to say that I like every artist collaboration, but there are some that I really love. Like Kusama especially, I would love to have one of the Neverfulls either in the white or the yellow that's just covered in the dots. One reason I haven't purchased one of those is because I'm not sure how I would fit it with my wardrobe that much. I don't know. I think the white would go better, but I'm a little more drawn to the yellow. I love the interior that's covered in the dots. I just think they're really cool pieces. I also love the Artie Capucine line or collection. They've come out with a couple of these now, and this is where they do collaborations with current living artists. Well, I guess they almost always are. Like the Basquiat was not. That was with Coach. But I think Louis Vuitton always collaborates with living artists. Is that true? Maybe not. I don't know. They did the Jeff Koons collaboration with the Masters collection where like Mona Lisa's plastered on a bag. A lot of people hated that. I mostly didn't like those pieces either. I did like the Rubens with the tiger and a couple other ones, but overall those weren't my favorite. I do have, you won't be able to tell this very well because I've got it tied onto this bag, but I have a series of these little bandeaus that I actually got off Amazon. If I can find them, I'll link them. And they are Van Gogh paintings. Love Van Gogh, who doesn't? They give a nice little color and texture and artistry to whatever handbag I put them on. But the Artie Capucine collection, they take, and I need to do a whole video on this, they take contemporary artists, collaborate with them, and they design a Capucine bag. And some of them are pretty wearable and some of them not so much. And one of my favorites is probably the bag that people have talked about and hate the most, which is the fruit bag or the banana bag. The banana is the most popular fruit. The banana just hangs from the bottom. I would love to have that in my collection. Would I ever wear it? That's not the point. It really isn't with something like this. These aren't pieces that, I mean, you can wear them, but that's just not the point. They're pieces of art. And if I was going to a museum, an art opening, I'd totally wear one to that. Every day, not so much. One other thing I wanted to point out as part of this discussion of animations on handbags and small goods is an artist who paints handbags. And a lot of people paint handbags, but this person, in my opinion, is by far the best at it. And this is Boyard. I will link their Instagram below. I'll scoot over so you can see these illustrations a little bit bigger. They do the most gorgeous work. Some of it is very much cartoonish. Some is more illustrative in the way that I define it, where it's more lines and detail, and some is very painterly. So you can get the whole gamut there. And their work is so detailed and fine and perfect. And that's one of the things that makes it so great. Because a lot of the times when I see bags that are painted, they're a little sloppy. And it's one of the reasons, you know, I bought a Speedy 35, a very vintage kind of beat up Speedy 35 a few years ago with the intention of painting that bag and it being like a project bag. And I've still never painted it. I have the paints. I don't know exactly what I want to put on it. I thought about putting my animals on it. Don't know exactly what I want to do. And I'm a little afraid of it because I would want it to turn out as perfect and beautiful as the Boyard pieces, and I just need to practice. I'm sure I could do it. It's just, it would be time consuming, which a lot of great art is. So I don't know what I'm complaining about or afraid of. I need to just do it this summer. And of course, Louis Vuitton, you may know that in some of their stores, including the Houston store here, they have their own artists that they hire to come in and do custom painting on. They won't do it on just any bag. They do it specifically on hard-sided items like trunks. And maybe I should do a video about painting bags too, not just like the how-to, the process of it, but yes or no. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Should you paint your bag? Should you have your bag painted? Does it ruin the bag? Well, I think if Louis Vuitton is hiring people to paint their own pieces, then that justifies it right there. So in conclusion, I think I don't know, if you were to guess what I liked or what I didn't like, I may have made things a little bit clearer in some ways, but probably confused a lot of people also. And what can I say? I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like, just like anyone else. But there are at least a few things that I can define somewhat about why I like something or don't like it. So what do you think? When you look at the animations, whether it's Louis Vuitton or other lines like Coach, what are your thoughts? What are your preferences? What do you like? What do you don't like? And why? Do you know why? Do you see patterns in what you like and don't like? I know a lot of people, whether it's an animation or some of the other pieces, it could have to do with color. It could have to do with the size of a piece. There are a lot of things where people look at Louis Vuitton pieces and think, that looks like something a child would carry. Why would a grown woman or a grown man carry that? So let me know your opinion in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Hope to see you back here next time. Hope you and your loved ones are doing well, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.